Hello everyone and welcome to this lecture. My name is Burhanuddin and in this lecture we are going to learn about the button UI component. So let's just open the Android Studio and create a new project. Start a new project, select the empty activity and press on next. I will name it as button app. Click on finish. Let's just wait for the build to be finished. Okay, close the tip of the day. Let me expand it. Okay. So now as my Gradle build is successfully finished, let's just open our main activity and change this constraint layout to a linear layout and remove the text view. Okay, so let's just switch on to the code view and I will remove the constraint layout from here to the linear layout and I will remove the text view. So now let's just add a button to this linear layout. Okay, so before adding the button, let's just change the orientation of this linear layout from horizontal to vertical. Okay, so now before adding a button, I want a text view up here. So let's just add a text view. Click on this text view and I want a simple text view up here. And now let's just switch to the code view and into the split view so that we can see the changes right here. I will change this ID to text1. Now let me change the background color to primary. Okay, the text color to be white. Let's just increase the font size, so text size to be 20 dp. Let's make the text bolder, so I will type text style to be bold. Now let's just center the text, so for that I will use gravity attribute and I will center it. Okay, now let's just add some padding on the top and the bottom, so I will type padding top to be 20 dp and padding at the bottom to be 20 dp as well. Okay, not dp, sp. So let's make it a little bit bigger to be 40. Okay, that's look great. So now let's just change the text view to hello there. Okay, now let's just add a button to it. So open the palette section, stretch it a little bit, click on button, and I want the button to be right here at the bottom, but I want a little bit of margin between these two elements. So what will I do? Stretch it a little bit right here, close the palette. I don't want that, so okay, so margin, oh, not in the capital, margin at the bottom, that is margin bottom, to be 50 dp. Okay, that's fine. Now let's work a little bit on the button attributes. Every attributes that we learn on the text view are same for the button attributes. So let me just change the text color. Let me just change the background of the button first. So I will set the background to be primary dark, and as you can see the background of my button is changed now. So let's just change the text color. So I'll set it to white. I'll type FFF. Okay, I will change the size of the text also, so I'll type text size to be 30 sp. Okay, I will also give it some padding from every side to be 10 dp. Okay, and let's just change, okay, let's just not change the width of the button right now. Let's just give this button a margin. So the margin value from every side will be of 20 dp. Okay, that's look good now. Okay, and I want to change the text of this button. I want to change the text of this button to click me. Okay, so now let's just change the background of this list view linear layout also. So I will type background here, and let's try primary. No, it doesn't look good, so change it to, let's put it white only. Okay, so now let's move on to the very important attribute of this button. Let's just switch to the design view. Now this button attribute, we can use buttons as a listener to the clicks of the user. Okay, so this button attribute, this button UI element has a very important attribute called click, on click. So we can type here on click, and now we can specify a method name here. That method will get executed every time user clicks on this button. So let's just type in a method name here. We can type in button is clicked. Just make sure one thing, there is no space between these names, these words. Okay, you cannot add space in the method name. If you do so, if I add some space, then it will create a runtime error, or sorry, a compile time error for me. Okay, so what is the compile time error? So compile time error is an error which will not allow my application to compile. It will show me an error at the time of the compilation. And what is the runtime error? It shows me an error at the runtime, that is when the application is running. Okay, and always do one thing that please give the meaningful name to any methods or any variable we use. Okay, right now it is showing me an error that corresponding method handler public void button is clicked and in brackets android.view is not found. That is because I have not specified any method naming with the name button is clicked in my Java code. But when we do so, this error will be gone. So don't worry about that right now. Okay, now let's just move on to the Java code. Let's just put this button at the bottom. So here we are on the Java code. So as you can see, right here on the top is my package name that we have specified on while we were creating the project. Next to it, there is an import statement. Where if you click on this plus icon right here, you can see that the imports are expanded, and this show me the files that are imported in this project. So what do the import does? That import includes or imports the files that are needed from some another package or another class to the class we currently want to use. to our class so that we can use their methods, functions and attributes. Okay, so as you can see, the first import right here is of androidx.appcompact.app.appcompact, which is importing this appcompact activity for us. Okay, and as you can see, the second import is of bundle. Okay, so now the next line, it says public class main activity extend appcompact activity. So what is this public? This public is an identifier or we can say access modifier. That means that any class or any method inside this project can access to this main activity. Okay, the next word, that is a keyword, which is class, that specifies that this main activity is a class. The next keyword is extends, and this extends keyword is used to extend this class and get this class add the additional capabilities and functionalities of some other class. In this case, we are using the appcompact activity. So we can say that all the activities, all the functions and all the methods and all the values of the appcompact activity is now added to this main activity. So we can say that there is a is our relationship between here. Okay, so there is an is our relationship here. Okay, so the next keyword is the override. So what does override keyword does, we will take a look at it in a minute. For now, let's just move on to the next thing, that is the protected keyword. This is same this is also a access modifier, which is same as a private, but have some limitations. We will study about it for on the next upcoming videos. The next keyword is void. Now void keyword specified that this method will not return anything. Okay, so as we know, on create method we are not going to return anything, so we have we can put the void method. But if I would have used this method for doing some for example for doing some mathematical functions, for example doing some addition, and then I am going to return the value or the result of the addition, then I should have used integer or float instead of this void. But as this method is not going to return anything, I am using the void keyword here. The next one is the method name, that is on create, and which has one parameter of type bundle. Okay, so now let's move on, and then there is an opening braces and the closing braces. Now the next line we have super keyword. So what the super keyword does, it refers to the instance of its super class. So what is super class? In our case, the super class will be the appcompact activity. How we can say that, as my main activity is extending the appcompact activity, so my super class here is the appcompact activity. So now here let us now let us see this override keyword again. So what does override keyword does? It overrides the method from a parent class to the child class. So it means that there must be another onCreate method in my parent class, that is appcompact activity. That method is getting override in this main activity again by us. Okay, so let's just press the controller command on your keyboard and click on the appcompact activity right here to go to this appcompact activity class. And now let's just search for the onCreate method, and for doing so press controller command F, and now you can search the method name here onCreate. Let's just move to the next one, and now as you can see that there is an onCreate method inside the appcompact activity, and this method will be overridden in our main activity. That is why we are using the override method, and the super keyword is used to refer as an instance of the super class. Okay, the next one is the set content view, which takes the parameter as r.layout.activity_main. Now R is an auto-generated resource file by the which is automatically generated by Java, and we do not alter anything inside this R file. Okay. The next one is layout. This is used to specify that the ID we are going to use is the element we are going to use is of layout type, and we are setting here the activity main is the layout of my main activity class. That is, whenever the main activity class is will be getting called, the layout residing inside the activity main will be set on the screen of the user. Okay. Now, I don't remember that I have specified the ID of this button. Okay, so let's just change this ID of this button from button 2 to click me btn, that is for button. Okay, let's just switch back to the code, and now let's just create an instance for this text view and the button in order to use them in our project. Okay, so to do so, let's just type in private. Now private means I don't want to use any method. I don't want to allow any method to use the values of this variable or this function or this method. Okay, so that is why I'm specifying it to be private. So I will state that private button. Notice that it comes from button. The button, this class button, comes from Android.widget class. So when I click on button, it shows me that the classes for the button are not imported. So if I press Alt Enter, you can see now that Android Studio automatically imports Android.widget.button class for me. So now I can create an instance or a reference for this button. I will name it click me btn. Okay, now let's just do the same thing for the text view. Create a reference for it, and it will be let's just call it main text. Okay, let's just import the class for this main text view for this text view as well. Okay, so now what we want to do is implement the method that we specified on the button click right here. So I will write, just remember one thing, you cannot write a method, you don't have to write that method inside the onCreate method. You can write anywhere inside this main activity class, whether on the top or whether on the bottom. So I will write it in the bottom right here. So I will specify public void, as my method is not going to return anything, and the name of my method was button is clicked, and then as a parameter I will specify a parameter of view type. Now why I am going to specify it the view type? Because every UI element extends from the view. View is a class which every element expands. So for learning that, let's just open any web browser and type, for example, button in Android. Go to the developers.android.com, and now as you can see right here that the widget.button class came from the widget.textView class, and which comes from android.view class. So we can say that every UI element inside the Android is of type view. So we can say that every UI element inside the Android is of type view. Okay, so that is why we need to specify the view attribute. We need to specify a variable or of type view. So let's just import the classes for the view. Okay, now let's just go to the import statement, and you can see that the import for android.view is already the classes for android.view is already imported for me. Okay, so let's just see that there is a difference between these two view, and that is the v of this view is in the small letters and the v of this view is in the capital letters. As we know that Java is a case sensitive language, so there is a difference between these two views. Just remember that for now. Okay, so now let's just create the reference of this view type. You can name it anything, but let's just specify it as a button view, and then opening curly brace and the closing curly brace. Okay, so now we can implement a logic inside this method that will get executed every time this button will be clicked. So that logic can be of anything. So let's just create an operation, and let's just pass the result inside the logcat, which we have used in the previous lecture. So I will take an integer result, and what I want is to pass the value of the result inside the logcat whenever the button is clicked. So I want the value of this operation 5 multiplied by 12 and at the semicolon at the end to complete the line. Multiplication in Java is specified with the asterisk symbol. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want the result of this thing inside in the logcat. So what we can do is type here log dot I for the information, select this method, and the first thing will be tag. So I will specify in capital letters that tags are my tags, and the next one will be for the method that I want to pass. So I want to pass the value of result. So I will type in result here and at the semicolon at the end. Now, as you can see, here is an error. This is showing me an error that wrong second argument type found integer required java.lang.string. This means that I cannot pass an integer value as an argument in here. So what I need to do, that I need to convert this result value into a string value. And how can I do that? Simply just enter the plus sign and put two double quotes. This will automatically convert my integer value into the string value. So now let's just run the application and see what happens. Select my device and run the application. And if you see in the design value, the error which was showing me for this the error which was showing me that the method name is not found in the Java class is gone. So let's just check out the application. Here is the hello there text, and here is a button which is stating me click me. So let's just click this button and see that what is the result in the logcat. So let's just change the filter to enforce and search here for my tag. As you can see, the result is 60, which is the answer of my this operation 5 into 12. Okay, so now what I want to do is, let's just click on the main activity main. what I want is to take is to pass the value of this text view inside my logs now. So how can I do that? So just pause the lecture and give it a try and see whether you are able to do that or not. Okay, so now let's just do this, that whenever the user click on this button, the value of this text view is passed inside the log. So for that, let's just go to the main activity and let's just comment this out. Now you can do comments in Android using 2 slashes like that. Okay, and for the multi-line comment, what we'll do, just select this whole text and press these 2 slashes. Click the control and hold down the control and press the slashes, and that will automatically comment it for you. Okay, so what we want to do now, when the button is clicked, I want to pass the value of the text view inside my logcat. So for that, first I need to identify my text view inside this. Okay, for that I will initialize the value of this reference of the text view, and for that I will type main text equals to, now we are specifying that whatever the value will be giving whatever the value we are going to initialize this reference variable with is going to be of type text view. So we specify that text view in here, and then we will type find view by ID, and then we will match our and then we'll pass the, and then we are going to connect our text UI element with this main text variable. So how we'll do that is using the R class dot ID. Remember when I told you that ID is used to uniquely identify each and every element, and we can use that ID to interact with our element through our Java class. So we are doing it the same right here, and the ID for the text was text1 and at the semicolon at the end. If you switch on the activity main in the code view, you can see that the ID of my text view is text1. Okay, now let's just there is no need of initializing the button variable right now, but we will do it later on. So now, instead of passing the result, what we want to do is pass the value of the main text right here. Okay, so just type in log dot I. Okay, and then the first parameter will take the value of my tag, that is my text, and the second parameter will take, we want to pass and as a second parameter we want to pass the value of the main text. So I will just type main text here and semicolon at that, but it is still showing me an error. It is showing me an error that the wrong second argument type, find android.widget.textView and required java.lang.string. So according to this error, it is saying me that I need to pass the string value, but as you can see in my activity that I have already passed the string value. This is a string value. Then also it is showing me an error, because in Android it is not actually passing the string value. Okay, it is of type, it is the value of it is not actually passing the value of string type, it is of some another type. So what I need to do, I need to convert the value of the main text to the string value. So what can I do is use the .toString method to convert this this value into a string value. So I will type .toString. The S should be capital. Okay. So now this method will convert the value of the main text to the string value. And now let's just run our app and see what happens. First, let's just clear the logs by pressing this icon right here. And now let's just run the app again. And now as you can see, my app is up and running. And as I click this button right here, you can see that there is a garbage value showing me up right here. Why is it so? It is because we have not yet fetched the value inside the main text of the text view. We are actually passing the widget instead of the value. So how we can fetch value inside the main text? Simply type here main text equals to what we can do right here is create a string variable, and let's give it a name of text value, and then initialize with the main text dot get text. We want to get the text, and then I can put the semicolon right here, but I need to convert this into the string, so I'll specify it to the string. Now I don't need to convert this value again to the string. I can just refer this text value in here and pass it as a second argument. This V is small. As you can see, as I put the capital V, it shown me an error because he was unable to find this text variable. So I'll put the small v, and now let's just run the app and see what happens. Clear the log. Okay. As I click this button, now you can see that the value of my text view, which was hello there, is showing me in the logs. Okay. So now what I want is, instead of showing the value of my text view inside the log, what I want is to actually change the value of my text view. So how can I do that? So give this challenge a go, pause this video and try it by yourself. And if you are stuck somewhere, try to Google it out and find the solution. And still, if you are unable to do that, just pause the video, resume the video again. So now I want to change the value of my text view whenever the button is clicked. So how can I do that? Is simply just take a string value, just create a string variable, name it as new text value, and give it a value of this, inside the double quotes, this value is changed. Okay, put a semicolon at the end, and now we need to set this value to the value of the text. So how can we do that? Is main text dot, now instead of get value, we want to set value of the text. So I can call the set text method here and just pass this parameter, that is new text value, right here. So what will this method do? It will set the value of the new text value, that is this value is changed, instead of hello Android, whenever this button is click method is called. So let's just run the application and see what happened. As you can see, now my application is running, and when I click on this click me button, the value of the text view gets changed from hello Android to this value is changed. So let's just run our application and see what happens. So my application is running, and when I click on this button, you may see the value is of my text view is changed from hello there to this value is changed. Okay, so now this was the one of the three ways of which we can implement a click of in a button view. So now we have seen one of the three ways of how we can listen to the user clicks to the button. But there are two another ways through which we can use and listen to the clicks of the user. So now instead of specifying a method name inside this button click, what I want to do is just remove this method name, select this button and remove this method name. And now I just want to comment this class also. Now what we can do is inside of this, let's just first initialize this button variable. So to do that, I will type here click me button, and this the value to this variable will be of type button. So I'll specify that right here, and then I will write find view by id r dot id, and the id of my button was click me button, and at the semicolon at the end. Now what I can do is instead of creating a method, I can specify an anonymous on click listener. Okay, so how can I do that is writing click me button dot. What I want to do is set a on click listener on this button. So I can use this method set on click listener. As suggested by the autocomplete feature of the Android, I just click enter, and now I just want to set a new on complete listener on the click of this button. So I can type here new, and then pressing the shift key with a capital O, you can see that Android autocomplete feature suggests me to implement a new interface that is from view.onClickListener. So I will click on OK, and now as you can see that we have anonymously created a on-click method for this click me button. Now instead of specifying the code inside this method, I can specify the code inside this on click method. Okay, so now on the click of the button, I want the text to be changed to I am an Android developer. So how can we do that is simply just typing in main text dot set text, and I'll be writing I am a Android developer. And now let's just run our application and see what happened. Now let's just click on this button, and now as you can see that the text of my text view is changed from hello there to I am an Android developer. So now the third way of implementing this the third way of listening to the user's click is by implementing our main class as the on click listener. So as you know, we cannot use multiple inheritance in Java, but we can use multiple interface in Java. So what we are going to do, along with extending the app compact activity class, we are going to implement the on click listener. Now As I typed in view.onClickListener, it is showing me an error. It states that class main activity must either be declared abstract or implement an abstract method on click view in on click listener. So this is telling me to implement one of the abstract methods of this on click listener implement interface in my main activity class. Okay, so what we can do now, that outside of this on create method, let's just put it on the top, I can implement the on click listener method implement. So to that, what we can do is right click and go to generate, and we want to implement the methods. So click on this on click view on click method and press the OK, and now you can see that the on click method are implemented and the error is gone. Now instead of specifying the logic inside this method, we can specify the logic inside this method. So what we can do, whenever the button is clicked, I can say that. So now I can specify my logic inside this onClick method instead of writing that logic inside this method here. So what I want to do is, whenever the button is clicked, I want to change the value of my text view from hello there to I am an Android developer. So I can type in right here main text.setText in double quotes, I am an Android developer, some exclamation marks. And change this A to the capital one. Okay, so now let's just run our app and see what is happening. As you can see, when I tried to open the application, it crashed. Let's just try again, and it crashed again. So what is the reason behind that is, let's just first check on to the log that what is the error showing me. So just change the filter to the errors, remove the my tag, and now it is showing me a null pointer exception attempt to invoke a virtual method and void android widget.button.setOnClickListener on a null object reference, and it is showing me that there is an error on main activity.java on line 28. So let's just run our application and see what happened. So let's just run our application and see what is happening. So now my application is running here, and let's just click on this button to see what is happening. Now as you can see, I am clicking on this button, but the text is not getting changed. The reason for that is I have specified the on-click listener for that, but I have not set this on-click listener for this click me button. So the thing here is, I have set the listener, I have defined this class as a listener, but I have not specified that you have to listen on the clicks of the user when click me button is going to be clicked. So to specify that, what I need to do, I need to first initialize button. Sorry, this is click me button. Then I will type find view by id r.id dot click me button and a semicolon at the end. Now I want to specify that this click listeners belong to this button. So what can I do is click me button dot set on click listener. Now instead of creating an anonymous interface, what can I do is just pass the reference of the current class, because the current class is my on click listener. So what for passing the current class, for passing the reference or instance of the current class, what can I do is type in the this keyword. So this keyword will pass the instance of the current class. So now let's just run again the application and see what happens. So now let's just click on this click me button, and now as you can see that the value of the text view is changed to the I am Android developer instead of the hello there. So here is the challenge for you at the end. Try to change this, when the button is clicked, try to change the value of the text view alongside the message inside the log cat. So here is a mini challenge for you at the end of this lecture, that whenever the user clicks on this button, alongside the value of this text view, I want to also pass this value inside the logs. So try to implement that and see you in the next lecture.